Hi guys, I'm back again with some more stories for you today. Let's go to the first one, about OP, who's boycotting her daughter's wedding because she's marrying a man who she took from his family. But, well, OP forgets that she happily attended her other daughter's wedding, who is a homewrecker as well. Listen to the story to find out OP's excuses, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. Two of my daughters, Tate, 33 female, and Camille, 27 female, have dated married men. The family participated in Tate's wedding, but we are boycotting Camille's. My 56 female, husband, 58 male, and I are strongly against cheating of any kind, as is our entire extended family. However, the situation with Tate was different. Tate's husband of 8 years, Mark, is the CMO of the company my husband has been with for 12 years. Tate and Mark met when Mark was still married, and Tate kept her dating life from us until my husband found out. We were all very upset. We raised all our kids to respect marriages, and that you mess with marriages at your peril. Yet, what could we do? My husband's supervisor reported to Mark. To upset either party would be a one-stop shop to having to find another job. Mark was related to 2 members of the board of directors. We told Tate we were not happy with this, that cheating married men are famous for dumping the girlfriend, so they can blame their moral shortcomings on her, and then society applauds him for coming to his senses, at least where we live. But against all odds, Mark filed for divorce and proposed to my daughter. Tate asked us to take part in her wedding, and the whole extended family thought about it, realized that Mark's ex-wife seemed perfectly happy rolling around town in her new Mercedes and bachelorette pad, and his son was posting thanking Mark for putting him through Duke University. Nobody seemed hurt, and we did not want my husband to be fired, so we went. 8 years later, Mark and Tate have a 4-year-old son. His ex-wife, Tate, their kids, and another grown daughter who Mark had with another woman all get along, often going on vacations together, giving each other presents. Tate works as COO of one of the businesses Mark owns, and my husband now works closely with Mark as he's a VP now. Everybody is happy, and nobody was thrown on the street. On the other hand, that is exactly what happened when Camille slept with a married man. She demanded he leave his wife, and this caused a divorce where Camille and her lover are living on $35,000 a year in California. Her lover's wife lost her home due to this, and is living off slightly over $35,000 to support her and her child. The wife is online saying how she has to fight to have the willpower to go on. There are a lot of hard feelings, unlike with Tate. In light of this, the fact that she and her lover literally destroyed a family in every sense, when Camille invited us to the ceremony, I told her to find a stranger to bear witness. All her siblings, the extended family, all wanted nothing to do with it. She set herself up for poverty, especially since she's living off a humanities grad student stipend. What she did could have driven the ex-wife to drastic action, and she should be thankful the ex-wife was strong enough to limit it to cryptic Facebook posts, which make Camille and her lover look like trash. Am I the a-hole for telling Camille no thanks to watching the mess that she's made of her life? Wow. Just wow. So OP thinks that if ex-wife has a nice car, she's okay. Or is she trying to lie to herself to make herself feel better? Sounds like according to OP, as long as both sides are rich, cheating's okay, huh? As long as it's good for OP's husband's career, OP has no problem skewing her moral compass. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Apple's Babe says, wow, hypocritical much? You either don't support children who get involved with married men, or you do. But you are perfectly willing to bend your moral judgment so that it doesn't affect your money. Oh, that's right. It's okay to have an affair as long as the dude is rich. But sleeping with a poor married guy is immoral. Sorry, I forgot. You're the a-hole. Clunk of the Void says, massive you're the a-hole. You are picking and choosing which cheaters to support. You support Tate, a cheater, and Mark, a cheater, but not Camille, simply because you're forced to see the pain she caused. You realize that Tate and Mark destroyed Mark's wife too, right? You raised 2 women who have broken up marriages. Obviously, the men who cheat are utter trash too. Good job. Existing Winner 5679 says, both of your daughters are nasty little homewreckers. You're just okay with Tate's because the married D she decided to jump on is rich and controls your income. Stop trying to sugarcoat your oldest's behavior. She's not better than Camille. They're the same. You're the a-hole and a massive hypocrite. My son and his ex split up about 6 months ago. He moved out. They have a kid together. Their lease is up in January, so he's still paying his half, but after that, it's up to his ex to pay it on her own. She can't afford it, so she's been looking for a new place to stay, but it's very hard. We live in a tourist town, so not only is year-round housing expensive, it's also incredibly hard to find. I'd say 85 to 90% of landlords around here prefer to rent their properties out as weekly vacation rentals. My son had an easier time finding a place because he's a truck driver, meaning their child isn't with him the majority of the time. He's either with me or his mom. So my son was able to move 30 minutes away where year-round rentals are much cheaper and easier to find. His ex can't move there because the schools are crap. The schools in our town are amazing, some of the best in the state. My husband and I live in a house that was built to be a vacation home. Our main house is on stilts, and there's a 1.5-bedroom apartment underneath. It's tiny, but it's got a full kitchen and bathroom. I say half-bedroom because one of the rooms isn't technically a room, no windows or closet, but it's big enough for a twin bed and a small dresser. We used to use it for my mother-in-law to stay in when she would visit, so she didn't have to walk up the stairs, but she has passed away. It's now used as a guest room, but we don't get many guests. I told my son's ex she could live there. We only asked for 2 things: money towards groceries, $50 a month to go towards dinner and snacks for our grandson when we watch him, and they're welcome to eat dinner with us whenever, and to pay for any damage her cat may do. Don't think this will be an issue, but just in case. I don't see the issue. She's a nice girl. We have a close relationship due to us being the go-to babysitters for our grandson. Not an issue at all. We love it. And I know her landlord personally, and he has nothing but positive things to say about her and my son. My son is livid. He thinks it's inappropriate and asked me to not do some dysfunctional bullcrap like that. I wasn't asking his permission though. I was just giving him a heads up. I already made the offer and his ex accepted. Am I the a-hole for doing this? It's definitely kind of OP to make sure her grandchild and his mother have an affordable roof over their head. But OP's son is right, and that this will be incredibly awkward in the long run. How is this going to go once either of them starts dating again? OP's son is in the position to explain to his next partner how his ex is living with his parents, and he sees her every time he comes to visit. Not every woman is going to be cool with that. What OP did is helpful and kind, but she should encourage her to see this as a temporary solution. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Andy Rev 88 says, "Not the a-hole. Just because your son no longer has a close relationship with her does not mean that you don't have to, especially because she is the mother of your grandchild. I think it is very compassionate and appropriate to help her in her time of need. If your son is angry because you are helping to provide for the welfare of his child and his child's mother, then that's his problem." Deleted user says, "No a-holes. This sounds good in theory, and clearly not letting your grandson be homeless is pretty important. But I don't blame your son for feeling awkward. Now, every time he comes to see his parents, his ex is there. How will you feel when she starts dating someone and brings them back to her apartment? How will anyone he dates feel when his ex is there every time they visit? Maybe it would be better if this was temporary, on the condition she continues seeking other housing. Either way, I highly suggest you get a formal lease in writing. You are making her your tenant, and she will have rights, even if she's not paying rent. If you decide you want her to leave later, you'll need to treat her as such." To start off, I've never cheated on my husband. My husband and I both have dark hair and brown eyes. Our baby has light brown, almost blonde hair, and gray, greenish-blue eyes. The thing is, these traits do run in both our families. His mom and sister both have light brown hair, as well as my older brother. His sister and brother have light green eyes. My grandmother had blue eyes, and my brother has green eyes. So while they aren't traits we have, they aren't mysterious traits. Since she was first born, my husband had doubts. I told him he was more than welcome to get a test, but I would want a divorce. My father made my mother test us, and when we first met, I told him I never wanted to be with a man who didn't trust me after just giving birth. So he hasn't done it, but has continued to question me. Skip forward 9 months to today. We're visiting his family staying in their home. I asked my husband to get breakfast, and for some reason, his mom decided to tag along. The last time we visited, he spent every single day without me. He would go to his friend's house or go to games I wasn't invited to. So when this trip came around, I asked him to please hang out with me and not let me feel awkward sitting completely alone at his mom's house with no car and not being able to eat for hours. So when she tagged along, I was more upset than I should have been, but it was only because of what happened last year. When we get back from breakfast, I apologize and tell her that me and my husband are having some issues, that was why I was so serious over breakfast. She and I begin talking about some little things that bugged me about him. I know. I shouldn't have said anything to his mom. I messed up. But then after I told her, I don't know if she got upset or what, she said, "Well, how do you think Mark feels? And you know exactly what I'm talking about." I was so beyond confused, so I just stared at her. She continued, "Mark has his doubts about your baby. Is there a chance it's not his?" I was so beyond shocked. All I said was, "No, not at all." She said, "Are you sure? Because I know of something that happened with you, something that you may or may not have wanted." Before I started even dating Mark, there was an incident that occurred that I would rather not get into. Mark told her something deeply personal and private about me. Regardless, I explained what happened and how it was months before me and Mark started dating, much before we got married, and much before we had our baby. Mark walked in and started siding with her. To defend myself, I told them I would pay for a DNA test. Now Mark refuses to take the test, and I now am stuck with in-laws and a husband that think my daughter isn't my husband's. I am considering divorce. He has been talking to his mother about all of my problems, and now his mother is accusing me of cheating and denying her grandchild. Mark will not get a DNA test to clear my name. I told him if he doesn't, I will get a court to force him, whether it was for child support or something else. I don't want to divorce him, but he is running to his mother about doubts. Should I just leave it how it is, or is this going to get worse? Well, honestly, I think OP's husband is cheating on her. He is so fixated on trying to make OP seem like the bad guy over something she never did. Also, many babies are born with light hair and blue eyes. They change as they grow. OP's husband is tarnishing OP's name and making her a villain. I think it's time for a court DNA test and child support. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Coclexis says, "Your husband doesn't trust you. You've known that for a while. The fact that he didn't get the DNA test is irrelevant. He doesn't trust you. And he can't be trusted to keep private things private. I think you should do the DNA test, just so your husband won't keep wondering about it, and then try to figure out if your marriage is worth saving." Relevant Jack White says, "Has Mark explained his logic behind not taking a DNA test? Because that seems pretty suspicious of him. Feels like this is all just some kind of head game or something." OP's reply, "He believes if I get a DNA test, I will divorce him. I told him that I didn't want to be married to someone that doesn't trust me, but he doesn't trust me regardless, so to me, that logic is out the window." Concerned for Humans says, "I think you should leave and hire a lawyer. The longer you stay, the more mother-in-law will gain grandparents' rights. She doesn't deserve that. If you and your husband work through this, it should be while you're separated. He needs to regain your trust, not the other way around. He divulged personal information to someone who probably spread it to others and accused you without evidence. Tell him he needs to work for this relationship. You've done enough work." My brother is 11 years older than me. I'm early 20s and he's in his 30s. He's a doctor and a health freak. He works out every day, and I don't think he's missed a day of cardio for 20 years. His diet is boiled chicken or fish with salad, no dressing, apart from the last Friday of a month where he'll allow himself a slice of pizza. This is all very commendable, and in fact, I admire his discipline. He's committed to his health, and it shows. He looks young for his age, and is very, very fit. What I don't like is his preaching at me. Every time he'll come to the family home for dinner, he'll talk about how I'm eating too much red meat, or make snide remarks when I have a slice of cake, or tell me how drinking is bad if I open a beer. I don't get why. I'm a healthy weight for my age and height, 6 foot, 78 kilogram. While I'm not exactly a walking six-pack, I have good definition, and otherwise I'm in good health. I've explained to him that for me, the point of staying in shape is so I can eat things I like, or drink what I want without adverse effects. Honestly, I don't see the point of denying myself all the things I like, just so I can stay in great physical shape. I'm a lawyer, not an athlete, so it's not like I have to stay in amazing shape. Anyway, despite repeated instances of him not listening, he started again at lunch today, and I basically told him to duck off, and what I eat or don't is none of his business. Now he's upset, and my mom thinks I was harsh because he was only looking out for me, and that I'd understand when I wasn't so young. 87 North says, "Not the a-hole, but you need to stop justifying your diet to him. He will never agree. The correct answer is, please stop giving me unsolicited advice. I did not ask. Focus on the fact that he is butting in where he shouldn't. Lively Sally says, not the a-hole. People who make comments about others are a-holes. Their honesty has nothing to do with being helpful or worried. Often they, fitness-obsessed, extreme vegans, etc., only hold themselves to these standards to feel as the better human and being able to look down on others. Nothing against fit people or vegans, just the extreme and preachy ones. Every group has a-holes. Azor Magalet says, not the a-hole. I honestly don't think his diet, attitude is very healthy. It's like you said, a big reason to exercise and stay healthy is so that people can enjoy food and life. If he's happy eating boiled chicken, fish, and salad without dressing, that's his business, though I can't imagine that's really true. Mom might be right that when you're older, you'll heed his advice, because our bodies and metabolism do change as we age. But you don't need to make those changes right now.